or at least
All
that's
right.
what the little button said on my screen. So
Yeah, I got the
okay, you got that too.
live
Now I'm all
message.
confused. I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing
It
anymore. I was
really,
like,
yeah. I
like
don't
this
know.
whole time I thought you could see everything that was on my dashboard. So I was like,
Is it really working?
apparently
I don't
not.
know.
So all right. Well, since no one is waiting for us, that's great. We'll go ahead and get started. That's always a good thing. So in three, or excuse me, are you ready, sir?
I'm good to go. Yep.
Okay. All right. In three, two, one. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Boom Addiction. This is season 4, episode number 2. I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Chris Parton, and with me, as always, is Mr. Ed. I'm not confused now more. Ed, how are you?
Pretty good. That was in relation to my the seasons have teeth comment.
Oh, oh my gosh. It's Doug in the chat.
Wow.
I am so happy to see Doug. I missed Doug last episode.
Yeah,
Or he
because
missed us. He didn't even know we were doing
oh yeah, there you go.
it.
But yeah, after I read it this time, I'm like, I see the picture. I
You get
think
it.
I understand what the story is,
Yes.
but it's not what the story looks like.
Right. And that right there is that right there.
Yeah, yeah, that
That's when I
and
read
that's
the first issue. I was like, oh, this is completely different than
yeah.
I
See,
thought. I mean, it's sort of the same, but it's different.
the first issue didn't do it, but when they they worked they worked that character a little bit more, I thought, in
Yeah.
the second issue, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're doing now. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Doug, it's good for you, or good of you to join us,
it's
or good
it's
for
good for you
you.
to be here, Doug.
It's gonna
Yeah.
strengthen your teeth and give you better eyesight and make your hair grow
Strengthen those
along.
bones
Yeah.
and help you grow like
Right.
all young men should grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are
So
your vitamin B. So
that'd be vitamin P, wouldn't it, for podcast?
oh, I was saying B for boom, but
Oh,
okay.
okay. Boom. Okay. BP, vitamin
BP, there you
BP.
go. Boom
Yeah.
podcast.
Boom podcast.
Works for me. So but yes, good to see you again, Doug. So let's go ahead and jump into some quick news. Well, I say quick news. A lot of this, we're getting toward that later half of the month. So previews is getting ready to come out.
Yep.
So they're starting to put out not just Boom, but a lot of publishers are starting to put out press releases about new series because they want to get you hyped up before previews comes out and everything like that. And it's Terry Moore in the house. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh, Terry Moore. Hey, I
Yeah.
know her.
Do you know her?
I know her.
You've seen her recently.
Um, yes, fairly
Okay.
recently. Yes.
Y'all had what was it? Okay, so if you're not following Ed and Terry on we'll just say Ed. We'll leave Terry out of this. Give her a break. but if you're not following either one of them on like Facebook, that's where I follow. Well, I follow
Yeah,
them everywhere.
she always posts on
The
Facebook.
the photos of dinner and
Yes.
the different I'm like, you guys, I really need a third plate.
And
You know.
and that is the wonderful Terry Moore that is 99% responsible for that.
It is
So
it is some good looking food.
I do diligently uphold my end, and that is to consume.
You
But
finish your
that
plate.
a lot of times that's as involved as I get with those meals. Every now and then I'll sous chef or stuff like that. But
Right.
she is the idea generator and the looking up new ways to do this or that
Yep.
or something brand new or whatever.
Some good looking stuff. Y'all had like what was it, seared salmon or something like that the other night? Or
Last
pan
night
seared something?
it was pan seared. I don't think it was salmon. It was halibut maybe
How okay.
on some coconut rice with
Mhm.
a uh, cilantro, not cream
See,
sauce,
Doug
but
agrees. Doug agrees in the
yeah,
chat.
cod.
It was
Oh,
cod.
there we go. It was cod. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And sautéed green beans, which are always doable.
Those are always good.
Oh man. Sautéed
Cool.
in onion and garlic and some green bean. Oh,
So folks, I totally agree. Just it's a if you think watching any kind of cooking show is entertainment or anything like that, that's great and everything. But when you see a home cooked meal like that, I'm like, dude, I'm like starving. I need some Get some of that.
we,
Third plate or
we
fourth plate or something.
we're certainly not doing it to trigger anyone. So
No, no, no,
that's
no.
that's not the reason. We're sharing what we do for those people that have any interest in that kind of thing.
I have pointed out a few of those dishes to my son, who is sort of a up and coming home chef, if you will.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Um, and so he's always trying out new stuff. So I'm like, hey, you should, because he knows you guys.
It's an
So
idea. Yeah.
yeah, so like, here's something for you to think about. So it's always good. But anyway, we'll do our cooking show at a different time.
Yeah.
This is our Boom
That's
Addiction
tomorrow
show.
night.
Yeah,
It's
that's tomorrow night. Yeah, and I'm probably going to be eating something else. I don't know what I'm going to be eating tomorrow night. Had a nice, no, no. So back to end of the month, or getting toward the end of the month, previews coming out, announcements of new books and stuff like that, to get you excited, stuff like that. But it's also Eisner Award time.
Yes.
So the nominees have come out and everything like that. Now, normally, in the past, we've gone through and shared, like, almost every category just to kind of look through it and everything. Now, I didn't plan on doing that tonight. For the unfortunate thing is, I say unfortunate in a very sort of selfish kind of way, because not that I work for Boom or anything like that, but I felt that Boom's creative teams were slighted slightly. Um,
I
no,
yeah.
you say no?
No, I agree.
Oh, okay, good.
I was not any reference to Boom themselves, but I was disappointed in the lack of nominations that they received.
Yeah,
I mean,
they only got
truly,
3.
out of what, 5 per category, right?
Mhm.
Were there 5 listed? And there
Yeah.
is 30 categories or more.
Mhm.
So now, some of the things, like maybe 1, maybe 2 nominations per category, I agreed with. I'm like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
that
I
makes
didn't
sense, I bet."
disagree with
But
a lot
I'm
of the
like,
nominees, but yeah,
"Oh,
I was like, there was so, like, you didn't do this and you missed out on this, and
exactly."
it's
Yeah, I'm
just like,
like,
oh,
"How can so and so not have?" Yeah,
yeah.
it's so
But again, they can only nominate so many people, and there's so many books that come out, both on a single thing, new series, ongoings and graphic novels and stuff like that.
but
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 still, there was
it's
some missed
always the
opportunities.
same, all of these books from Marvel, all of these
True.
books
Yeah.
from DC. I'm like, "Guys, is that all that you read?" Because that's, to me, that's what it looks like.
It
Marvel and
There are
DC
years like that. Yeah.
and Image, those are the only books they get, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Come on, guys," or ladies, or
Yeah.
however you wanna
Oh,
be
yeah, I don't
referred
even know
to.
who the, committee is this year. I didn't even look to
No.
see who that was. So, not that that would matter, but so, yeah, so as far as the 2023 Eisner Award, nominees, so for best writer, I think it's James Tinian for, House of Slaughter, Something Is Killing, but, and
For 80
all those
books,
other
I mean,
1,700
yeah,
books that he has in 12 different publishers. Man is a writing
I think
machine.
about the only person that I regularly see that can compete in volume is Cullen.
True.
I
That's very
mean,
true.
the 2 of them have, like, half of previews, it
Oh,
seems like,
yeah, yeah.
every month.
Oh,
I
they
mean,
have like a full shelf just to them
yeah,
at a comic
their
shop.
their
That's
own
no doubt.
sections. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And they write not not like the same thing, but very
But,
thematic
yeah,
similarities.
they definitely could be in the same section,
Yeah. So,
for a lot of the stuff they write.
but James has been, he's been nominated, a number of years now, which is just sort of proves, if you're not a fan of his yet, it's more that you just don't get into that type of book.
Mhm. Yeah.
And he's very much sort of in that sort of horror suspense sci-fi-ish at times. I mean, I don't really think Blue Book is super sci-fi, even though it's UFOs. It's
Yeah.
more on the scary, trying to be a little bit on the horror side of that. But so we also get best single issue or one shot.
Yes.
I disagree on the category. It's
Okay.
Vicious Circle book 1.
Right, it's not
And
a single it's not a one shot,
it's not a
certainly.
one shot. It's a 3-issue miniseries that I was under the impression it was,
Well, at
even though it's
least
an
the second.
oversized book and everything.
I looked to see, when the next issue was coming out, and it's
Mhm.
scheduled for July, so
Yeah.
there's definitely an issue 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's supposed to be three total issues or total books to go with this. Um, but yeah, so it in the nominee for single issue or one shot. So
Mm,
okay. I mean it's a good book. Don't get me wrong. I just felt like it was in the wrong category. And then we same series we get for best painter and multimedia artist for interior art is Lee Abrahamo, who's doing Vicious Circle. So I mean
yeah.
that's no disagreement there. That
The
book was amazing.
the writing was not bad at all, but the
Oh
art
right, yeah.
was just, I was like,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that next issue to come out.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I am totally okay waiting 6 months or whatever,
Yes. Yes.
to get it because it's if you know I hate to even say if the first book was any indication of what we're going to get in the future. It's not even that. It's just the volume of work that came from the man prior to that is all I need. Like to
Yeah.
know I'm going to enjoy what
To
I
know
see
to wait
next.
for, yeah, for
Yeah,
what's next.
I'm
And
not going to complain.
the thing that really impressed me, and impressed, I mean, made an impression, not like,
Mm.
ooh, he's good. Impressed. I already knew that. Was how drastically he changed his style from cover to cover as he's going through
Oh yeah.
the different eras that the
Hmm.
characters in. I was like, is this
Yep.
he did this too? Yeah, it was just
Yeah, I'm
it was an
totally on.
awesome effort.
Oh
That
yeah.
first issue,
Oh,
just
for sure. So best of luck to them, everybody involved in there. Hopefully they'll win. I mean, I, I if they don't, I'm gonna get angry. No, I'm not. I'll be disappointed, but congratulatory to everybody else who won. So no, not really. So
yeah, yeah, congratulations.
yeah,
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 way to go.
you're
Yeah,
okay.
good job. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see some other stuff that came out. And again, we'll kind of go a little more, I guess, on some of this stuff. I guess when we cover preview, like we haven't even covered previews for May. I didn't even think about that until I started seeing this stuff go out today. I'm like, oh, maybe we should do that next week. But
Well,
it
is
might be
it?
too late.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's too late now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably too late now. Yeah,
Because I
because
know
like
my
orders have to
place.
be in like on the 23rd or 24th or something like that.
Well, Westfield, the place, one of the places that I order from, has a 12th of the month
Oh, really? That's
deadline.
really early.
Hmm.
Yeah, because the shop I used to be at I used to shop at in South yeah, I was on Spartanburg. Theirs is like the 20th, 21st, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
D- DCBS is like 23, 4, 5,
yeah,
usually around in there.
yeah, that's true. So, but yeah, we'll cover all this, we won't worry about May previews.
Well,
We'll
yeah, I
talk
was
about
going to
June.
say here in what? Probably not next week, but the week after we'll have a new previews.
Yeah,
We might have a new previews next week.
yeah,
It's the 24th of the month, but the 31st is a Wednesday also, so
yeah.
it's hard to say which one. But yeah, very soon we'll have another one to talk about anyways. So
Yep. So let's see. We're gonna be getting a new Slayer book, a new Vampire Slayer book. It'll be Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer. It'll be out this summer. It's gonna be written by Casey Gilly and Oral Roy.
Hershiser? Who's
No,
that?
not Oral Hershiser. Much shorter last name.
Oh,
Roig. I think that is who is going to be on
or
art on this book. So it presents the next chapter, Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer saga, set after the events of the special. So they are all chronological, which is nice to see. So we had a Last Vampire Slayer miniseries sometime last year. We had the one shot not too long ago, and now we'll have a new miniseries. Or at least I'm under the impression this is a miniseries. It just says next chapter.
mhm.
So, well, it does say for this arc, later in the press release. So we'll get a couple issues on this. So this will come out sometime in August. So that'll be interesting. I am all on board for the Francesco Francavilla cover. So he did a lot of covers for the early couple issues of the current Vampire Slayer book. They did like a nice red foil treatment to his stuff. So I saw that, on the shelf. I didn't even pay attention to that in previews. I saw it on the shelf when the first issue came out. I was like, yep, we're gonna have to pick those up. So let's see. Uh you brought this up last time, looking for some more magic. We're gonna get another planeswalker. I think it's a one shot. Again, we'll know a little more once preview comes out, I think.
Yeah,
But
it was solicited as a one shot, an
okay.
oversized
Okay,
one shot.
so Magic Planeswalker Notorious #1.
Notorious.
So that'll be by Rich Duke and artist French Calamango or Calamagno and Carlos Pedro. So it's a 40 issue one shot. It'll be coming out in August as well. So I told you they're not going to be done with Magic. I'm glad that they're not done with Magic.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think Jed McKay kind of said all he was going to do, and Rich Duke had been doing. Pronounce Rich if I'm mispronouncing your last name, but I know he was working as a co-writer on Magic with Jed McKay, and they're buddies, and also
Okay.
maybe he'll continue on if they start up a new ongoing series. Which would be good because Rich does some good stuff. So
Well, now would be a really good time to use this IP, because I know here very shortly Magic is coming out with their first licensed world for Magic the Gathering.
oh really?
The next big release is supposed to be Lord of the Rings based.
Oh, did not know
So
that.
yeah, they advertised it rather heavily a couple months ago, and then they just let it go. And I assume they've just been taking orders. And I've just
Yeah.
now seen information start popping up about, hey, it's almost out there. As they're so I'm sure
So
here in the next
is
month
there
or two.
TCG?
Well, yeah, and
Okay.
it's going to have it. It will be just another Magic.
Expansion?
Yeah,
Okay.
but the entire thing will be Lord of the Rings based, so that
Nice.
essentially you can play it by itself, or you can take those cards and put them in with your regular Magic deck.
Nice.
So
That's okay.
it's
I don't know how I missed that, but it does not surprise me that I missed it. I will have to go back and do a little research on that. That interests me
it's
quite a bit.
it's my understanding that it's a um maybe the concept needs a little help, so they reached out for some
Hmm.
licenses that they could use, and the
Mhm.
first one that they're releasing is Lord of the Rings. I haven't seen what others, if any others, they have, but it's my understanding that it is a concept that they're going to use, every one out of every two or three releases
Okay.
moving forward for the next little bit will be this type of release.
That
And
sounds
then they'll go
cool.
back to their normal,
Yeah.
focusing on a plane or focusing on a character like they
Yeah.
have. And yeah, so they're
Well,
just
yeah, and
adding
it's
it to the
gotta get
shuffle.
tough, after this many years. I mean, you can only do, you know,
Yeah,
whatever the current printing of the original set is so many times, and, the expansions have gotta get hard for those guys to start doing.
yeah, new
That's why I've
mechanics
always
and
been
all that
impressed
stuff.
with them and, like, Pokemon, and, I mean, Pokemon, I see a advertisement for a new expansion, like, every 3 or 4 months. I'm like, "It's
Right.
ridiculous."
Yeah. Well, now, Pokemon does have kind of a leg up, because every time a new video game comes out, there's
Yeah,
new Pokemon to catch, there's new
true.
trainers, there's new location. So it is already evolving over here, and then they
Yeah.
just bring that into the cards.
Right, it's a giant ecosystem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Magic has nothing.
yeah,
It's self-contained, so it's all in the card game. There is no other creativity to pull from. So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's true. Alright, let's see, we're gonna get here's a couple Mighty Morphin Power Ranger things. We're gonna get a 30th anniversary special.
Yep.
So that, so part of one of the things that we talked about, I can't remember if we talked about this on the show or not, but they had, no, I don't think we did.
Hyper
Um,
Potato.
but we're going to have, it's Hyper Potato in the chat. Good to see you there. Thanks for joining us. So, but yeah, the 30th anniversary landmark celebratory anthology issue featuring 5 brand new stories paying homage to the legacy of the Rangers. We're getting one written by Ryan Parrott, Matt Groom. We're going to get that's not that story, but a story from Amy Jo Johnson and Matt Hodson. And then we're also getting one from young adult author Maria Ingrate and then Dan Mora is doing. I mean, there's a bunch of covers, but Dan Mora's doing the cover A. Just because he got bored like one evening,
right?
So here, let me sketch this out real quick for you.
Doing his what is he doing for DC?
He's doing Shazam and World's Finest and cover art, but he's doing
I was
Boom.
going to say
he's doing cover art for Boom. Like
he's doing interiors for those books, right?
Yeah, he's doing interiors for both of those books.
Yeah. So he took a break.
He took 2 or 3 issues off of World's Finest, and I think he did like 6 issues of Shazam, or I don't know, who knows, or fast he works.
Yeah,
he did 12 issues in 3 months. But yeah, as far as artist in this, we're going to get Hendry Prestella. I always screw that up, but has done, obviously Rangers work. Eleanor Carlini, again, apologize for that. Another, Go-Go Power Rangers artist. Marco Rena, who did Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers newcomer. Joe, oh, wow, I'm going to screw that. The same artist that did Eve. Wow, is it Joe Ming?
oh, yeah, I'm not sure.
I apologize for that.
Joe Migyong.
I should have done a little more
I'll
research.
try, and I apologize. I'm sure that is a horrible Caucasian attempt at that.
Yes, exactly.
So I apologize.
But definitely a star-studded, very well-versed Power Ranger creative team for this one shot. So that'll be a lot of fun to check out. And again, right there with the 30th anniversary. So, and then we're also building toward Darkest Hour and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That'll be the new event. It's a 12-month event, much like Shattering Grid, or is it Shattering? Yeah, Shattered Grid. So that will be starting in August. So it'll be Darkest Hour, and again, just having the one series, you won't have to go back and forth between 2 books. But I'm sure I can't. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure we're going to get some one shots or something along those lines to sort of beef up some storytelling.
Focus on a character,
or
something like that.
So that'll be, and I'm actually looking forward to that. I did much like you did, try to get caught up from issue 100 forward. So I'm trying to keep up this current series. So I think sort of a big event like this is, something meaty to kind of get my teeth into and
I'll probably go back to 100 and try it again. I read up to 106, I think, and then I was just like, oh, I suck. I can't keep up with all this.
It was a good try. It was a good try.
Man.
It's all you can do sometimes. So yeah, that's all the kind of news. A lot of that's just come out here in the last day or two. So
this week was building just full up for
previews. So that's some good stuff. So, all right, let's jump into Final Order, which is FOC. I'm trying to find my screen. There we go. Nope, that's new releases.
No, that's
Final Order. There we go.
There it is.
Wrong tab. So FOC, as we always talk about, FOC is Final Order Cutoff. These are books that you can get up your comic shop this week. These are the final chance that they have to order these books to get them into the store. So these, the due date on this is May 22nd, which is next Monday. Be sure to check with your local shop, whoever you order comics through. They may have a different cutoff date, but this is just what Diamond has, is the 22nd. So I will recommend waiting till Thursday, Friday to take a look, because sometimes you get updates, especially if you're one of those second print, third print kind of purchasers. They tend to not have that information until Thursday or Friday. So um, doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes. So that's usually when I wait and take a look. So all right, you want to go through some of these books?
Sure. Start off with, we get the trade paperback collection of Approach. It was 5 issues,
Mhm.
a nice Cthulian kind of tale. Had a this book had an ending that I tweeted the author about, and he was not able to give me any information on Twitter because it would have been too much of a spoiler. So
Oh, okay.
not only to me that means for this story, but maybe there is something in the future that is planned as well, and it potentially would have spoiled that as well. So yeah, he was very excuse me, very apologetic for not giving me any info. I'm like, no, dog, I understand.
Jeremy is a
That's
good
cool.
guy. Yeah,
I said, it's my bad. I just need to go back and pay better attention. So
yeah,
I intend to go back through it and see if I can answer my question. But very good story, awesome art, different from a lot of the other stuff that's coming out right now. So this would definitely be a good, yeah, just sit down and consume it in one go kind of story. It's not uh, very necessarily thought provoking or make you think, uh, but it is entertaining enough that you'll want to keep going until you get to the end. So
mhm,
I enjoyed it.
cool.
We get the second issue of Ghost Lore. The first issue recently was announced as going back to a second printing.
Yep.
I don't know if that was this week or maybe that was end of last week,
Mm,
but
it was the end of last week, and I've actually been waiting for the second print to be solicited, but I still
yeah,
haven't seen it.
I
So
was
I'm
going to
thinking
say
maybe it got last week and I just missed it.
right at the end. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it was the same week because they announced the same week of release out at the distributor,
yeah,
yada yada, second printing. So, but this is the second issue. Solicited are a couple covers. I definitely like the first one. I think more than the second
yeah,
one. Second one's
yeah.
a little bit too intense for me. It's like, yeah, okay. We also have a one shot that we had already heard about for Magic,
Mhm.
um, Planeswalkers Noble, whereas what we were just talking about was Planeswalkers Notorious.
Yeah.
So they're kind of
Hero villain?
ending the thing there. So yeah. Oh, what happened? Here we go. Okay. So we have a couple covers of that. I would kind of be surprised if that only stopped at 2 covers.
Yeah.
I bet for a Magic there will be probably a couple more. Moving on, we have the Specs trade paperback. Specs was another interesting one during the hiatus that the entire series came out. That was another 5 issues. I thought the story wrapped well, but the ending of the book sucked,
Oh.
and that's I know it sounds kind of confusing, but if you read the story, I think most
Mhm.
people would understand what I mean by that. The story is one thing, but the way that the comic book itself depicts that story, in my mind, is a different issue. So the story
Mhm.
was good, but yeah, the ending of the comic book sucked. I was like, no way. So not sucked in a bad way, sucked in a way that I didn't like it.
Right, yeah,
Not that I
yeah.
didn't agree, I just didn't like the way that it ended.
The construction was well, it was
Uh,
just not to your liking.
yeah, yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, that's an ending, and yeah, okay, yeah. Uh,
You could go that way. Yeah, sure.
so, we also have the third volume of Vampire Slayer
Yep.
in Paren Buffy coming out. Single cover for the Specs trade, and also single cover for the Approach trade. So
Yeah.
that's pretty typical. But yeah, the third volume of the Vampire Slayer book. I'm assuming probably another 5 issues, could be
Y
6. I'm not sure
yeah,
what
I
they've been.
think let's see if it says yeah, it's 9 through 12.
9,
So
10,
they're
11,
only
12. Oh,
putting
4 issues.
4 issues, yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, I'm pretty sure Approach was 5 issues. Well, it is $1 more.
Yeah. Let's
And
see.
Specs.
Yeah, Approach was 5. Yep.
Specs was 5 too, I believe. So
And yeah.
interesting. Three
No, it was
different
4.
prices. Oh, Specs
No,
was only
Specs
4?
is 4, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little interesting that that they are both Approach and Vampire Slayer are $1 off. Um, yeah, I'm not really sure
And
what
then
the reason for
Specs
that
for
is.
4 books, which is what the Vampire Slayer is $2. Now
Yeah,
maybe the $2 for Buffy is like licensing fee. So they gotta,
maybe. Yeah.
they have to help pay for
So
having the
so
franchise at all.
Jeremy and his crew decided, you know what? We need a little extra. We need a little extra, another buck off the
Well, but
off the
it's 5
trade
books.
sales.
It's 5
Yeah.
books. So you get
Yeah.
an extra book for only $1 more than the Buffy.
Oh, yeah. 1912. Okay, I
Yeah.
miscounted with the Buffy ones. I was thinking 5 issues with that.
No, yeah,
Sorry.
Buffy, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's $1 more for 20, whatever, 3 more pages
Mhm.
at least. So
Yeah.
that's not bad.
No. Not bad at all.
And so that's the final order cutoff. A couple
Yep.
issues, well, an issue, a one shot, and 3 trades.
I think that's a pretty good week too to try out some new stuff. These trades would be a great
The
way to
Yeah,
do that. Because I know a lot of people, especially if you're not already reading Magic, odds are you're probably not going to pick up the one shots.
right.
So picking up, especially specs or the approach, I think both of those would be great options to pick up that week.
Absolutely. Yep.
So. All right, new books coming out next week, the 24th. We've got the Briar Volume 1 trade paperback. Briar has been announced that it will be coming back, which is
Mhm.
always good. So we've got Dune issue number 512, or excuse me, Dune House of good Lord, brain froze there. The Harkonnen. Whoa.
Harkonnen,
Harkonnen,
Har-
jeez, you
House of
hmm.
Harkonnen.
Yeah, when you
That's
read to
okay.
yourself, you don't talk out loud, and then your
It's
brain just sort of like, "No, we're just gonna do it the way we wanna do it." It's all right,
Yep.
appreciate it, public schools. So 5 of 12 of that, we got a couple covers for that. Um, well, we're gonna have more because this is cover A and B, and then we gotta cover E, which is the FOC
Yeah.
reveal, so there's either a foil cover in there or a virgin cover or something in there. So we'll get a couple extra ones in there. And Dune's been making, Dune, much like Magic, has been, not cranking out variants, but they do have quite a few.
Mhm.
The Expanse, the Dragon Tooth, 2 of 12. These Christian Ward covers have been pretty good. Very character focused. So we get an A there, we get a B, and then we get Neighbors, 3 of 5. I'm looking forward to talking about that next week since we
Mhm.
haven't had a chance to. So hate that we're going to be in the middle of this series for you and I could probably talk about it on the show, but
Yeah.
is what it
Yeah.
is.
That's okay.
But yeah, so we get 2 covers on that. So 1 trade paperback, which I recommend all of these, but when I see a good trade, especially the volume 1 of a trade to kind of get you in there, you get a chance, read it, you get a little time between now and when the new issue comes out, you're hitting the ground running. So good stuff there. So, and then we'll be talking about a lot of these on next episode. So that'll be fun. Let's see. I guess that's it. Wow, we
I
ran
believe
through that
so.
stuff pretty quick.
Yep.
All right, so because we got a lot of books to talk about tonight, so let's go ahead and let me put that down there, put that here, and put that there. Boom! That is not the book I wanted to talk about first.
Good cover though.
It's like, yeah, it was a nice cover, yeah, but not the book I was looking to talk about tonight or this moment. So let's go ahead and dive into House of Slaughter number 15. You want to give us a rundown on that bad boy?
All right. This is brought to us by the ever-present James Tiny in the Fourth, who
Speaking of which, yeah.
yes, who is listed as series development. Also in development is Werther Deladera as well as design. So,
Hmm.
and those two guys definitely came up with the concept. I was surprised I hadn't noticed that Werther was down for design, but okay, that makes sense too, being the artist. This series, House of Slaughter, is written for us by Tate Bromble, illustrated by Antonio Fuso, colored by Miquel Muerto, and lettered by And World Designs. We see here on the cover, we have a lot of dead people here. Interestingly enough, all of the same mask, if you look around and pay a
Yes.
little attention to the cover. So uh, if you're not reading the story, if you're not familiar, you definitely see that this character, he must have killed all of these people. But if he did that, why is he looking so saddened by it? Or maybe he survived whatever killed all these people because he's also missing part of his arm. So you're like, oh, well, he survived this attack. So interesting cover because it really doesn't give away anything. It doesn't
No,
tell you anything.
does a
Um,
good job of that.
yeah, but this is covered uh, more or less in the story in the issue, which
Mhm.
is always good, and you don't see it all that often in covers
Right,
nowadays.
yeah, seriously.
So, it's- um, so the story is about a gentleman that is um, attached and estranged from one of the houses in the Slaughter universe, the House of Butcher, and that is like a play on their last name, not necessarily what they do or don't do. It's not a verb per se. It's a play on the last name, which is Boucher, which being that they're in um, New Orleans, I would say is Boucher, but I
Yeah,
never see any diacritical marks on it when the
you're
name
right.
comes up. It's
That
it's
is a good
just
point.
straight letters. And I would say if it's straight letters, that it's Bosher or Bocher is how you would say it. So I'm not entirely sure what the name is supposed to be. I've never heard in any interviews yet. I've never heard anybody say anything about the character, so I don't know how you pronounce the last name. But um, he he's he's estranged from the house of his own doing. He has wanted to retire from being in the house. He was a uh, was he a white mask also, Chris? Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah,
Okay,
well, yeah, when he was there, he was, and then when he
he was
transferred to Slaughter.
he was trained for Erica's
Yeah.
the same uh, job, the same role
Mhm.
that Erica has, but he decided that it's not what he wanted to do. At the beginning of the series, you find out that he didn't want to because of someone that he was in love with, and some conflicting issues that they had, and but uh, that character shows up in a dream state or a
Yeah.
actually yeah in a altered consciousness state because he's been tortured and so he's
Well, the original part of him being at the House of Slaughter was like his interaction with Aaron was even sort of not even um that was I hate to say it by circumstance. I mean, he was there to kill the dragon
right.
is what his original intent to even be transferred there. Um and Jace is, a legacy, you know, member of, this, House of Dumas, the whole group.
Mhm.
So yeah, so he's definitely been trying to get out of this thing as quick as possible, but it's one of those things just when he thinks he's out,
Right,
they
kind of
they
like the mafia that they
literally
always
pull him
say.
back in
Hmm.
kicking and screaming. So
So in this is the third chapter of the House of Slaughter, this particular book, and he has taken to protecting orphan children because those are who are preyed upon to become the next members of
mhm,
all of the houses. That's where they um, recruit from are children. And so Jace has decided that the children, the children, need protected. So he has affiliated himself with a group of orphans, and they're kind of living. He has them all living kind of off the grid, a la uh, Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, kind of. imaging is what it brings to mind to me whenever I first saw that. That's what stood out to me, is what they were trying to emulate. Um, in the process of trying to protect the boys, the children, he lost track of one and finds out that the child has been recruited by his former house, the house of Butcher, the house of Boucher, whichever pronunciation. And so he goes there to uh, to find out if he doesn't know where the child is. He just knows that one of the children that he was watching over has disappeared. He knows that there was at least one member of his former house that had been in the area recently, because he met them, quote unquote, socially, seemingly socially. It turned out not to be.
Yeah.
It was very directed. Um, and so he attempts to infiltrate the house, and the house, you find out that, well, the house isn't quite as uh, chilled with the decisions he's made to no longer be an active member of the house, and you kind of suspected something of that nature because of the way that he was pulling himself away from normal society, and he was kind of living on the edges. So you knew that he was obviously hiding out from someone, maybe to protect the children, but it turns out really for more for his own mental and emotional health, probably than trying to safeguard the children. He's trying to safeguard himself, because he knows that ultimately the house will come after him and try to either try to get rid of him or try to bring him back in the fold. A lot of what we see is also happening to Erica over in her book as well.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Slightly different circumstance, but the overall strokes of the story are the same. You have an
Mhm.
individual who is not doing things the way that the house that they are supposed to represent wants them to do, and there are repercussions for that. Now, Jace's might not have been as bad if he'd have been able to stay out of everybody's way. Erica, that's not the case. They went looking for Erica.
Oh,
So
yeah.
for reasons in that story. Now that the House of Butcher has their eyes on Jace, they know where he is. They are treating him now the same way that the House of Slaughter is treating Erica in the book. So we're getting a lot of parallels,
Mhm.
although the paths that got you to those parallels are very different. But right now, the immediate portion of the stories that we're reading simultaneously are rather paralleled. So Jace, in trying to find his his Robin, if you will, his uh, charge there that he's looking over, uh, the family catches him and they have been torturing him to. Um, I think honestly, just because they want to. I mean,
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe it gives.
he doesn't have really any information to give. I mean, there's nothing that they need to know from him. Maybe where the rest of the kids are, but I mean, really, the way that these monsters kill parents, I'm sure they have the pick of kids whenever they
Oh,
want
yeah.
a new member. So it's,
Mhm.
you know, looking specifically for the kids that he's been watching over and protecting. It's easy pickings, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I got that they had captured him, and so they were going to torture him just because they could and they wanted to, as payback.
Right.
Ultimately, with the idea that, well, yeah, we'll play with you a little bit like a cat, but we're going to kill you anyway. So
Yeah,
it
because it
doesn't
was
matter.
really strange because the whole thing is, like, they're torturing him, like, literally for fun while the other white masks are out looking for the kids.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not even that they need him to tell them where to go. They know where to go, or at least
Yeah,
had a good idea.
yeah. That's what
So
it seems. So it's yeah. So
it's very, again, can't pick your family, I
yeah,
guess.
I guess. But with some interesting characterization and some interesting images because of his addled mind from being tortured. Um, Jace puts enough together to ultimately escape his circumstance, goes back out into the woods to reprotect the kids that he's been
Right.
shepherding, and shepherding not necessarily in the way of leading them, down a particular path, but shepherding by way of just protecting them and keeping them safe. So he his former life, he would have guided them in a particular way towards a particular destination. But now he doesn't want that life. He doesn't want that life for the kids. So he's just shepherding as a method of protecting
Yeah.
and attempting to keep them safe. I wish that they would give us more story about the eye colors, because that is really starting to fascinate me,
Yeah.
particularly because this one character has two different eye colors.
Yeah.
Everybody, and they mentioned something about, uh, it had to be in this issue, about getting their eyes, or some reference like that, like something turned on, or they achieved a level and it
Right.
changed their eye colors to this. They're just a passing reference by somebody in this story, and I was like, okay, so it's a symbol that something, I guess, a developmental level has been
Yeah.
reached. And they so then, okay, well, that makes sense when you, but that doesn't explain why somebody gets two different eye colors. Unless they're like a, what is it? They're like a cleric paladin, or like a,
Right.
a thief fighter, or one of these mixed class characters or something like. Those are Dungeons and Dragons references for anybody that doesn't know. That's, and not the movie, the role playing game that's been around for 25 years before the
Couple
movie.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's neither here nor there. Not going to stand up on that. I spent enough time on top of a hilltop last week, so I'm not planting any flags tonight. I need a break. I have no opinion about anything tonight at all. It's all good. Um, so the story, pretty much, the latter, about half of the story really, is Jace having gotten loose from his torturers, going to hopefully rescue the kids, encountering a group, as Chris said, of the white masks, and that seemed to be the group of the house that was most interested in him. We have seen, well,
Mhm.
other than the dragon, but we have seen that there are probably five different occupations, so five different color masks,
Yep.
approximately, I think. But the white masks, because when he was with that house, that's what he was. Now, as I think Chris said, when he, mm, moved, I guess, really is what happened, to the House of Slaughter, he took on a different mask,
Yep.
meaning he had a different role. But so it's his former compadres, in essence, that are hunting him down here. And he goes out, and that scene on the cover is one of the scenes after he has escaped, as he's in the woods trying to protect the kids. That scene presents itself. It is not a final scene of the story by any means. So it's not, you know, again, they didn't give anything away by showing us that. That's just a, well, and you would hope that, wow, are they saying well, yeah, I would hope he lives, because there's still, a couple more issues, at
There's
least of
still
this
story to
chapter left.
tell. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would hope he lives. That's not a spoiler, but,
Yeah.
um, and it's an interesting ending. He gets outnumbered, and some people that he thought would see things the way he sees them, in essence, be on his side, really turned out to not be on his side, and so he
Mhm.
was left truly on his own, outnumbered. Um, the the person that was not on his side, uh, I guess, almost betrayal, um, struck him very, very deeply, and so he's not, I don't think, going to be fully cognizant of everything he's doing, because he's very
Oh yeah.
mournful about what has happened, and now he's trying to run from the outnumberedness that he encountered with the other white masks, like
Which
10 to
is
1.
which is crazy, because when he comes upon the scene, he takes out a bunch of them.
Yeah, he doesn't have a
Like,
problem, it
no,
doesn't seem.
like, he gets hit, yeah, definitely, but he takes them out in relative ease, And the moment that betrayal happens, it's
It-
like he got stabbed in, stabbed in the gut. Like he is completely at wit's end. He's like, I don't even know what to do now.
right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and that's where when he turn the fact that he turns and runs, is just shows the effect of that betrayal in such confidence when he and determination when he showed up. All of that just went away.
Right. Yeah.
And
Because
he was just like, I don't know, I'm defenseless at this point and has to
when
run. So
he
that's just crazy.
first encountered them hunting, he had no problems jumping into an outnumbered situation. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. Yeah.
you could tell that it never occurred to him that he was outnumbered. It didn't
Nope.
matter. But then all of a sudden, when what he was trying to do turned out to be, well, that's not going to work. It's like, oh wow, I'm outnumbered,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a definite 180 from the place that he had himself in his mind at the beginning of this
Mhm.
last half of the story to where it ends. Um, and I really like that last image of his eye. It goes back and forth. The last 3 or 4 panels is him now and him in a previous at a
Mhm.
previous time, not in a
Yeah.
previous life, but at a previous time. Now, previous time, and more parallels
Yeah.
between he's kind of been here that we see him before.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's where we end it. Um, nice image here of his eye, and yeah, he's
Mhm.
so next. I suspect that the next issue may well be the final issue of this chapter. They they could go a little bit further, I guess, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't looked that far ahead to see.
yeah,
But yeah, it feels like, I mean, this is part 5, I think.
a 5, yeah,
So
chapter
yeah,
5 it
so
is.
it definitely feels like, I mean, they've been doing 5 and 6 issue arcs. So uh now the you and I've talked about this before. We weren't huge fans of the first arc.
No, not at all.
Um for a variety of reasons, but I feel like this arc, it wasn't I didn't like Jace as a character. I just there was a for definitely for me there was an understanding, or at least a thought that I had, that this book was going to be about explaining the houses
Mhm,
and the roles and all. So I was like looking to be a very world building kind of thing, and
right.
it really isn't. It's really a character driven series.
So far, yeah,
In doing so, then kind of explaining a little bit of the houses, kind of like, something is killing, kind of explains, the House of Slaughter every so
right.
often. So that's kind of what we've got here. Jace is definitely, even though we had I forgot to do his name is in the last
Aaron?
arc, but it's definitely,
Oh, yeah,
a
last arc.
Jace series.
Mhm,
Him being the first arc, him being in this arc. Now, whoever's in the next arc, that may be different. So um but I definitely, can get a little more into that first arc, having now read more of Jace and sort of understanding motivation and character and all this other stuff. Still, again, it doesn't change too much of what I thought of the first arc, but it was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I like this Jace because he's a complex character, but I just felt like he was, I don't say not overbearing of a character. It was more, I can't even think of what the word is, but like this Jace, I get in the motivations. Like I didn't get the motivations of him wanting to kill the dragon and all this. Like there was a history there that I felt like we were kind of missing.
right, right, yeah,
And so this, it's clear we're getting everything, or it may not be every, T crossed and I dotted, but it's very understandable. I can follow along with this very well. So either way, but I do like Jace as a character a lot now, and I've enjoyed this arc a lot.
this, the final page here, also puts me very much in mind of them treating Jace now the way they're treating Erica in the
Yeah.
other book after
Oh, for
this
sure. Yeah.
conversation here between the
Mhm.
2. So
Yeah.
again, a lot more. parallels between the
Hmm.
characters than perhaps we have had, and it would make sense because when people act and do things like Erica is doing, I think it's a very contagious thing.
Yeah.
And if you're not, if that's not the kind of thinking or behavior that you want, then anyone else exhibiting that same behavior would be a problem of the same magnitude as Erica has become for the house.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Jace is not in the same way, but ultimately the end result is the same as where Jace is, as far as the way that the House of Butcher sees him, is where Erica is as the House of Slaughter sees her.
Yeah.
So they're the same problems. I don't know necessarily. I guess it's not the same time frame. I guess these aren't occurring simultaneously.
Maybe not simultaneous, but close enough.
Yeah, if and definitely I would think looking at the ages of character, what is going on with Erica and her wanting to get away from her house was first.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
yeah,
then
because they even tell Jace that Aaron died,
yes,
and
yeah,
that happens in the toward the end of the like whatever issue 12, 13, 14, somewhere before issue 18,
right,
when
yeah, it's
Archer, that whole arc ended. And he didn't know that, you know.
right, yeah, yeah. He just found out this
Yeah.
issue that
So
if he even necessarily believes them, I don't know that he.
true. Well, yeah, maybe even though the whole dream sequence,
Well, but
uh,
that's just yeah. I mean,
that
that's
could
just
just be
again
him
him
manifesting. Yeah.
hallucinating it. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah,
True.
I definitely this book has definitely been growing, and it had quite a ways to grow after the
Yeah.
first couple issues to be something that I enjoyed, and I
Mhm.
do now. Not as much as Erica's book, but it's
Oh,
getting there.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. Yeah, it's good.
and I hesitate to really recommend this issue, let's say, to people because
Mhm.
I really think in order to understand, you have to read the series.
Yeah.
Just this one would be fine, and that's 15 issues. So,
Yeah. It's 2
it's a
trades.
little bit of work,
Yeah, there's 2
a
trades
little bit,
already out, so when this arc
So,
wraps up, they'll put out that 3rd volume, so
yeah, it's not like I'm recommending that you get into X-Men. That's complete or Avengers, for that matter,
da-da-da-da-da.
or no, no.
Yeah,
This is a 15 issue
yeah.
investment. It's and you'll be pretty well set up for this story.
You can read that in a weekend. That's
Oh
no
yeah,
big deal.
what is that? Probably three trades,
Yep. Mhm.
two trade, two to three, depending on how many there is. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
easy.
an yeah, that's a weekend. I mean,
It's
come on,
light reading.
a trade
Get a
Saturday, a trade
get a
Sunday.
sandwich, get a drink, sit down. You're
Yep,
good to go.
you'll enjoy it.
Hopefully the sandwich too. So,
Well, it's such
so
a unless Terry makes the sandwich,
let's
and then
Terry
it's gonna
makes
be
it. If
killer.
Terry makes it, then you're definitely gonna
Yes,
enjoy it.
that's you should be charged for it if Terry makes it.
Exactly. 100%. All right, The Seasons Have Teeth, number 2.
I get
Uh,
it. I
what's
get
that?
it.
You
I
get it
get
now.
it.
I'm
I get
excited
it.
to talk to you about
Yes,
this book now.
I get it.
Written by Dan Waters, illustrated by Sebastian Carbel, colors by Dan Jackson, lettered by Nate uh, Picos. I always forget now how to pronounce Nate's
A
last name. Of
Blambot.
Blambot. He's old school.
Yeah, I was gonna
Nate's been
say,
around quite a while.
wow, okay.
He was around before. Well, not before Ed. Ed was, you know, like like even before Ed was lettering, Nate was lettering. So I think I may be wrong, but Ed was digital webbing. He was
Yes,
already
that was
had
yeah.
his whole thing what digital webbing is. So
Ed and
internet history
Stan
effects.
and
Yeah.
John Romita Sr. and yeah,
Yes, not that
Ed's been
old.
around. Oh, okay.
Not that old.
Seems like
Uh,
it. He's just lettered everything.
it was crazy. Designed by Murray uh,
Krupina?
Krapina, and I kept wanting to put the P in the first syllable, and that may or may not be true. Editor is Chantel Lacroix. Hey,
LaRoque?
the Roke. You
LaRoque. And
French speaking people that it's not me.
executive editor is Eric Harburn.
It's Eric. I'm just first name basis with
Eric.
everybody now. It is so much easier. So Season 17, it's 4-issue miniseries. One issue is focusing on a season. The season is manifested as a monster. And so that's sort of the elevator pitch. And so when
But that's not the story.
But that's not the story.
It's not the
And
story.
so the elevator pitch is, each season is manifested as a monster. And
It's
so
the setting,
so
but
when you
not the
think of
season
that,
being the
you're
set. Yeah, it's
thinking,
okay.
oh, it's going to be a monster,
Well, yeah,
story of some
yeah.
kind. And it is, but it's really about, it's not really just the monster. It's about it's about this guy, and can't remember his name. Is it Johnny? Not Johnny.
Let me look here
I
and see if I
forget.
can see it.
I
Go
forget his name. Andrew. It's Andrew is his name.
Okay. Yes.
So Andrew, without having to recap the first issue, Andrew is a photographer. He'd lost his wife. His whole backstory is pretty, it's a sad guy.
He's lost everything.
He's lost
really, at this
everything.
point. Yeah.
And so he wanted to take a photo of the monster that would be what was the last
Spring.
was it Spring? So
Yeah.
the monster that would be Spring ended up the whole town that he lives in evacuated because
Now this is the previous issue.
The previous issue, I'm sorry.
That
Yeah,
Chris is
I am
talking about.
recapping a little bit.
This is
So the
issue
previous
1.
issue, town evacuates. It's a serious deal. These things, come around every year. And serious issue, town evacuates because they don't know what the monster's going to do, tear up the town and all this other stuff. He ends up getting toward this what are those things called?
Gazebo?
Gazebos. Thank you. To a gazebo that he and his wife had spent time at and all this other stuff. So he's reminiscing. Anyway, these teenagers end up being there because they're going to stick it out and they're going to face the monster. And he's like, y'all are insane. But ends up what happens is at the end of the issue, that the thing that shocked me and apparently confused you was the monster just kind of hung out. He laid down, the teenagers kind of pet him on the face, and he took a nice photo.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the end of the issue.
Part of the story for that first issue is that's what he was wanting to do. Andrew was wanting to get a picture of this because he has aspirations of being this great embedded photojournalist.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has passed him by as he is much older in age now than what you would perhaps expect a photojournalist to do.
Yeah.
And so he's in kind of the twilight of his entire life, and he's wanting to this photo, if he can get a good one, this will put him on the map. This will make him, and that's why he stayed and. Everybody else evacuated, and then he's surprised that he's not the only one, but then the kids aren't there to do what he's wanting to do. They're not there for the same reasons, but they stayed too. And it's almost like they're invading his space, the get off my lawn.
Right.
I'm the only one that can stay. And then by the end, you're like, well, this monster is it's not acting like a monster. Now there are some things that happened that were rather monstrous as a result, but in the end, this great evil that you thought didn't come across as evil like you thought.
He's just a beast. He's just a creature that just lives in the
just like a
when
bear
he comes across.
or a moose or whatever. Yes. Now, that having been said, Summer is not like that at all.
Oh yeah, totally different.
Summer has a completely different disposition.
So Andrew is now part of an embedded team of photographers who were going in, journalists who were going in to find Summer. So we're sort of the cool thing is in the first issue and in this issue, we're not shown the monsters until much later in the issue.
Mhm.
I think that's great. I think seeing the effect, the discussion, the effect, how it happens, not just on the terrain, but to the people that are there
Right.
in search of it or trying to escape it. It's that kind of effect that it has on them. Um, so that's kind of what this issue is. It's building up to Andrew being embedded and landing and finding when they do touchdown and everything, they're being told nobody can go any further because of the damage and everything. And it's summer, so you're thinking flames and just all the and they do show, a couple scenes where summer had been around, and you do see a little bit sort of a shadowy. It's almost like if you ever watch Cloverfield, you kind of get like there's a shadow of the creature
Yeah.
or the
Almost like
leg.
out of the corner of your eye, you see
Right,
something, but
yeah,
when you
so which
turn,
is
you
great.
can't
I
get it.
love the way the art does that, the artist does it. So, but we do get to see there is lots of destruction and everything that summer has caused. So they're saying, "Look, there's nobody going in, nobody can do this, all this stuff." And Andrew just was kind of like, "Well, I guess so," and then kind of jumps the fence, and kind of takes off into it without anybody ever seeing him. He ends up running up on the other photographers, who is well prepared for this. He's got his fireproof blanket and all this gear and everything, and Andrew just sort of shows up with his camera. He's got his flak
Right.
jacket on and everything, but that's it. And the guy's like, dude, do you not, I mean, they're like in a wasteland of burnt everything. And the guy who runs up on is like, don't you understand what you're dealing with? And again, like you said, it's Andrew trying to make up for lost time. I've got to get that photo. And he's not thinking prep, he's thinking get into the moment, get it done, get in, get out. And so so it's it's an interesting sort of thing where we get a nice little the last issue and this issue do the same thing. They give you a little flashback to an event in his life, dealing with his wife and all, or conversations that sort of explain, give some meaning to the current, what's happening currently to him and stuff like that, which have been, a little bit revealing and everything, which is good. But it definitely, this issue definitely shows that, he's like, oh, what does he say? The guy keeps saying, it could be anywhere, you don't, let's see, I'm trying to find the page. He says, seriously, we're dancing with death here. I don't, I know you got that picture of spring by dumb fucking luck, but sorry. But summer isn't slow and
Oh, that's what
predictable
it
like
says.
that. It moves silently and it could be anywhere nearby. And, the guy's like yelling at him. He's like, you don't get it, and Andrew's just kind of like looks at him and goes, I know what summer is. I remember summer. And you're kind of like, was he talking about the story, the flashback that we just had talking about summer? That
No.
remembering that summer, or does he remember what summer is, like the monster summer? And then he looks up behind the dude, and there's Summer standing there, and you get the like I said, the leg shots and everything, and he just blows fire and kills the guy, the guy in front
The
of him, but
the
doesn't
other
kill Andrew.
photographer, not
Yeah,
Andrew,
the other
yeah.
photographer, and the only thing that's sort of left is the fire retardant blanket, which Andrew then grabs and runs. Um, but you do get a really
This
cool
is
shot
this
of
would be
what
the picture
summer.
to have gotten, man, right
Oh yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
That picture that he ended up getting, I'm like, "Oh, no, that's nothing." Thi
Well, I think
this
the thing about the picture is like the situation that he is currently in when he first sees Summer is still
Mhm.
running hot.
Right.
What Andrew has done is gotten smart about it and sort of just waits until Summer sort of dies out.
Right.
and
Runs
is at the
itself out.
last
Yeah.
yeah, and so that's sort of the so he takes this photo of him when
At the
not that
end of
summer isn't a
summer.
threat. Yes, the
No,
end of summer.
it's
Yeah,
the end of summer. Yeah.
yeah, but it's such a again, try not to I hate recapping every little thing, but it is one of those things. This is a book I didn't expect to be really, really digging. Like, I expected to enjoy it. I like Dan Water stuff. It's, so he's a known quantity for me. And so I expected to get in, enjoy what I read, and it's like, okay, that was good. That was a good book, and kind of move on to the next book. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it so much. It's one of those things where this is like the new thing. This is a new book for me as far as like, wanting folks to really check it out and really sort of dive into it, because I think it's not that monster book that I thought it was.
Mm.
It's a very personal character study,
It-
and I'm like, I didn't expect that, and I love it for it. And so I do want folks to check this book out because of that. Um, I d- I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it before it came out, which is sad. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it now.
no, no.
But it's a 4-issue miniseries, so it's one of those things where if you missed out on the first issue and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'll just wait for the trade. I would hunt down the first issue.
I bet you'll
Um,
be able to find them.
oh, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And
I
if
bet they're
anything,
not
you
hard to
can
find.
find it digitally. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not like it's hard to find on any, I don't know, it probably is now. I don't know how digital uh I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know
yeah.
how digital readers do it now.
Now that
Uh,
comicology's gone, yeah,
right.
I don't know what
I
you
ta
do.
I take all that back that I just was I was just starting to
Maybe
say.
digitally it
It
is a
may
little
be
tougher to
difficult to
find it, yeah.
find it if you go digital.
Go to your
Um,
comic shop.
go to your comic shop, exactly. If you can't find it, need some help, send me a message on Twitter. I'll help you track it down. I definitely agree that it's something that you need to read. But yeah, it is one of those things where the ending is like his editor is like screaming and yelling at him like, you why do you get out of there? He's like, did you see the photo? Did you? And the guy's like just yelling at him like, you need to get out of there. Like, did you see the photo? Did you even look at what I just sent you? And then they saw you like, yeah, we're gonna run with that one. That one's good, thanks. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
So we get 2 more issues. We get fall and we get fall's next, and then we get winter. I'm you kind of have an idea that fall's going to have something to do with death and decay and stuff like that, and winter's going to be something ice or snow related, maybe. It's not going to be claws, we know that. So that'd be
And we've
funny.
already got that wrapped up in a trade paperback that's
Yes,
coming
yeah,
sometime
it's sometime in the near future.
from Kickstarter. Yeah, it's,
Maybe.
who knows?
So but yeah, it really good series. The second issue was really good. I feel I enjoyed it differently than I did the first issue. The first
Mhm.
issue was sort of the surprise to it, and this is like, okay, this is really, we're getting meaty now. So yeah, just an overall really, really good book. I hope folks are checking it out.
They should.
They
It's not
should. If you
about
don't, I'm gonna get angry. So there you go. This is my once and future. This is my
Oh, okay.
Seven Secrets. This is
Okay.
my, we only find them when they're dead, that kind of thing. That's that book for me. So
Did you finish We Only Find Them?
no, I like none of my local shops have the last 2 issues. Like nobody.
Buy the trade.
I know. I'm gonna
Or
find the
or actually, go to Lone Star. I bet or,
yeah, that's what I
My
need to
Comic
do.
Shop. I bet they have
I
the
hate to only order like 2 books from them, and it's then
oh,
trying to figure
uh,
like you sent me a link like, "Here's all their dollar stuff," and I was like, "Oh, that's
the
so many."
what okay, then don't do that.
I
Look at the other boom books that you wanna get
Oh, no, 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 I know,
and
I
look
know.
and, get you some of those. Just make you a boom order, 20, $30 and yeah.
So, here, let's see if I these are there. I don't think you can see it. There's a box that's sitting right here in front of everything that is unread boom stuff. It is a
Okay.
solid short box full of stuff. Stuff during our hiatus and everything that I have been slowly reading through. I can't add to it. If I add any more to it, I'm gonna have a coronary.
But you
So
gotta finish the story, man. Come on.
oh, I
I
do, I
mean,
do.
you
Yes.
know
100%. Yeah. Thanks. Don't. That's right. That's right, folks. Don't make
Put
Chris
off
angry.
picking up something new. Finish
Oh
what you
yeah, yeah,
already started.
yeah.
Don't make Chris angry. Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll summer out or he'll spring out or
Hyper gets
whatever.
it. He understands,
You know,
or they understand. We'll say that. All right, let's move on. Mosley, you want?
Mosley.
Do you want to cover that? Or you want me?
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
All right, this is written by Rob Guillory, illustrated by Sam Lotfi, colored by Jean-Francois Belleau, I believe, lettered by Andrew Thomas, with one, two, three, four, five, looks like five different covers, and the logo is designed by Cody Chamberlain. This is
I didn't
chapter
realize
4.
Cody Chamberlain did this. That's or did the logo. I like Cody stuff.
Chapter 4, Most High. Uh, this is about man versus the machine. That's the story. It's a very simple premise, but very high concept execution.
Hmm.
Um, the machines advanced to the point where they are now in conflict with the man, and I'm using those words in general terms, like not foot on the back of your neck, the man, but
No,
human
no.
beings, the man. Although this may be where the man goes too with this foot, that So I don't know.
One would think, yeah, the way they're,
He's holding you down, and with the rest of his body, he's doing this kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um, as far as the machines go, though, we potentially have a face to tie to why the machines, how the machines got to where they are now.
Mhm.
It had to start somewhere, and potentially the people in this world have a face. Now there were, as you would expect, many more than just one face is responsible, but this face is a face that, at least us, the reader, we can say, okay, see, because of what you did, this is where it got you.
Mhm.
Uh, and this is a story about, yeah, well, once what he did got things there, he kind of felt bad and thought that where things got was wrong. That's not how things should be. It certainly, in retrospect, is not where he wanted things to be.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Um, to make things even more complicated, um, in during the rise from very simple to the ultimate take control of everything road that the machine has been on, uh, he was involved at the beginning, but then cut himself off. Well, in the interim, after he cut himself off, his wife got involved, and she got involved very heavily in the anti-machine aspect of the story. His daughter, their daughter, was involved in the help the machine side of the story. So he, after kind of setting things in motion in part, deciding that he didn't want to be a part of it anymore. He didn't like where it was going early on. Well, after that, his wife took one side, his daughter took the other side, and he did not want a side as this, uh, I guess you could say, ascendancy of the machine. And so then at some point, his wife kind of fell off. They fell apart. Um, and in the estranging of he and his daughter became estranged, actually, from both of them. So now we have, three different uh, people, although the story mainly focuses on him, Mosley.
Mhm.
Um, his wife comes in, I think probably last issue, really, his wife came in, and his daughter has been in and out of the story from the beginning because she had to advance in what her goals were alongside the machines. So as the machines have risen in ability and aptitude, his daughter has been very much involved with that increase of the machines potential, what they've been doing.
Mhm. Right,
Now,
yeah.
somewhere along the way, somebody or something realized that Mosley didn't like what was going on, wanted to do something, but needed help as to what to do or how to do something. I mean, one man against the machine, that's not going to go. You're not going to be able to go very far. You know,
Right. Yeah.
we all know that we fight against the machine every day.
Oh,
If
for
it's not
sure.
the
Yeah.
man, it's the machine, and
Yeah.
we're losing all those battles. Um, so something stepped in and gave Mosley some help, gave him some abilities, and gave him some pretty gnarly equipment too.
Oh, for sure.
And he has now taken his, raising his fist against the machine to a much more physical level, and he has been fighting the machine. The machine has manifested in three major aspects, handling different things as far as the machines taking care of human beings, and all of the different things that humans need done has manifested basically in three constructs of the machine. Now, the machine is an intelligence, and so it's always directing but always separate. So that even though he is defeating these constructs, which is ultimately what is happening, the brains behind the machine is not necessarily being affected. I mean, you would think not. And we have seen this in, storyline after storyline in all kinds of media. The mind behind something is out and separate, and no matter how much you fight against it, it's not touched because you're not fighting it. You're
Hmm.
fighting the things that the machine is using, the mind is using. And so we really, that kind of aspect of the story really comes to a head in this issue of Mosley's story. Um, it gets to the point where all of the roadblocks that the mind behind the machine has been putting in front of Mosley, he has defeated them. And so the only thing left is the true mind. But Mosley doesn't know remotely how to address that, how to battle that, because he has been very much involved in the physical. And through a reconciliation of his wife and his daughter, um, they have now a united front where the three of them are combining what they can do. And as a team, by the end of this issue, they're going up to face the mind, the man behind the curtain,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah.
And definitely, it's a definite setup for the final chapter being next issue.
Yeah.
Everything
Oh,
else
yeah.
has been taken care of. The final battle has been staged, and you can definitely see that is what's going to occur in the next issue for the whole issue. Everything else has been taken care of.
Oh, yeah. It's all been minor bosses up to this
Yeah,
point.
the final boss is all that's left, and they are going to face them next issue.
Yep.
So, um, very, I get, I'm a very big fan of Marvel's Thor,
Hmm.
and watching Mosley, I get a lot of Thor elements. Well, I mean, how could you not with his weapon? But
Oh, yeah.
just
Yeah.
just the physicality and the fact that his weapon is a very physical weapon, even though you're dealing with computers and digital and information and things like that he is fighting with, but also energy and his ability to quote unquote fly or to levitate, be in the air, even though he is very much a flesh and blood
Oh, yeah.
creature. He can be hurt. He can, um, so all of that just really puts me in mind of Thor. Um, I don't like his daughter. She came around, I guess you could say, this issue, but I still
Right.
don't
Yeah.
like her. She's had, whatever, let's say 25 to 30 years to come around. And just now, in year 29, she's
It's like,
coming around.
oh, this is what you've been meaning. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, now I understand, like I said, she was caught between her dad, who was, very hands offish,
Yeah.
and mom, who probably gave the daughter grief most of her life because of
Right.
the daughter's choices to be involved in machine and the mother being anti-machine, which
Right.
you don't you don't really see too much of except just a cursory
Yeah.
this is her position. The story really is about Mosley and his place in between and the fact that he again kind of was involved in the very beginning startings of
Yeah.
what we see now. So I mean
Part of that beta test.
he is very much uh has to be responsible for where things are because he got it going. He knowingly got it going. I mean, when he was first invited to participate, he had questions then, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He put those questions aside because of what he thought would be the benefit to him and his family by
Yeah.
being involved. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do. And it's like when that boulder got rolling downhill, all of a sudden he's like, no, I'm gonna step back here. I can't be a part of this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, but dog, you already got that thing rolling. I mean,
Yeah.
how are you not involved? And
Well, and I think it's very interesting about that particular aspect of it all is that his daughter trying to escape her capture, uh, knows that her dad was part of that when she was just a baby,
mhm,
but reaches out for not her dad specifically, but that part of her dad that was
mhm,
in the root of the programming because he was there at the beginning.
right. She uses that connection.
Yeah, which
Uh,
I didn't really see, I didn't think about that. I didn't see that coming. It was sort of an interesting sort of escape plan. And I think she even admits it like, oh, I didn't think that would work. It's kind of like she was as surprised as the reader is. It's like, oh, okay, sure. I thought I would give it a shot, and apparently that
and
aspect of my dad was still there.
well, and that shows you even more how involved he was than really what it showed at the beginning.
Right.
In the beginning, it's like, well, we're just getting this thing going, and we need your help a
Yeah.
little bit. It seemed, and it's like, well, he helped, and then it got passed on, and they did
Right.
other things.
Yeah.
So to find out that that there would be a back door
Yeah.
in the programming that was that tied to him, I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Well,
really?
just yeah,
That's
it definitely
dude.
shows, his he left a lasting impression on
He
that program. You
He's a
know.
lot more involved than just well, just here, participate a little while,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, we based a lot of our crap on you, dog.
He
That's
he was yeah, he wasn't that guy who just sort of, pushes the mouse around a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Like, what time is it? I'm gonna go take a smoke break. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than that for sure.
And, and not with any kind of malicious intent or anything. I think, like you said, I think his whole intent was to be part of something that would, at some point, be a benefit to mankind, but yes, be beneficial to his family and everything. Yeah, and it definitely, obviously went way awry.
Yeah,
And his daughter is the epitome of um, every parent's sort of uh, teenager. I'm going against what you everything you say. But what happens when both your parents are on opposite ends of the thing? What do you do? Yeah,
yep.
it's like, but yeah, I enjoyed this issue. I've enjoyed the series somewhat. It's not been my favorite. And I think I had some higher hopes for it as far as just being Guillory and everything. I've read a lot of his stuff, really have enjoyed a lot of his stuff. And so it was sort of that thing where I'm like, did I put too much on this in the anticipation of it? I don't know. But I mean, it's a well done book. It's not a poorly written or constructed book. It's just I don't know. It's an okay book, and it'll probably have an okay ending, and I'll enjoy the time that I had with it and move
Well,
on to the next thing.
there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. I
Oh
mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of like,
it's it's not once in future.
No,
You
no.
know, it's not
There's
slaughter.
nothing that
It's not.
complex. Jeez.
Oh, okay. Uh, you know,
Like I
so
hurt my head.
it, it 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 does what a comic book is supposed to do. It entertains.
Yeah.
There's eye candy,
Yep.
and there is a level of writing, whatever that level may be, that you require to be able to
Mhm.
read the book. You know, there are much more complex intellectual books, and there are books that are much less intellectually complex than
Well,
that.
and there are
So
books that are like, this is what the medium is for,
yeah,
and that's just a
you
good old storytelling.
you know
Yeah.
every hit isn't going to be a home run, but if it's a single, that'll
That
work because
that'll
you
work.
put enough singles together and you can win the game. That's
Exactly.
You know, so but yeah, every swing doesn't have to be a home run, and to
No,
some
dang it,
folks,
it has to be. I need
to
a
some folks, it's not a home run.
I need a something is killing number one for every
No,
vote.
yeah,
No,
it's
it's not gonna happen.
not gonna happen. Nope.
All right, let's see. Let me jump in here real quick with Vampire Slayer number 14. This one, let's get to my creative team. Written by Sarah Gailey, illustrated by Kath Lobo, colored by Valentina Pinto, with color assists by Ricardo Gardina, lettered by Ed Dukeshire.
See,
And
he's everywhere, man.
he's everywhere, man.
He's like Santa Claus.
Yes, he is. He gives gifts too. It's crazy. No,
Uh-huh.
I just want to. I know you didn't get a chance to read this, but but I did want to just sort of touch on it. It is, this issue we get Drizella introduced, um, and sort of this is a very it's like a I was trying to think about the last time because I've kind of like, oh, this is kind of like, this is Buffy, but when Willow altered it's the ultimate universe version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Is probably a better sort of description of it. It is a completely different take on the series with reminders of who characters are that were similar to the characters that we've known either through TV or through the comics and stuff. Um, but it's sort of constructed just a little differently. And so it's been a good book. I've enjoyed it. And so like I said, we get Drew introduced here, sort of as the new bad guy, and obviously she and Spike. If you know anything about the series, she and Spike go way back, and so there's an interesting dialogue between the two of them because he knows how dangerous she is. She doesn't realize that he's sort of uh, gotten a little softer because he's with on the side of the good guys now. He's sort of the no, I'm not, I'm still one of the bad guys, and everybody else is like, no, you're not. So he's trying to sort of distract her while Buffy and Faith kind of do their thing. So it's a good, I always say Buffy is a good character study. It's a great ensemble book, even though Buffy is the lead character through it, through most of it. It I've yet to read a series I don't think I've read a comic where Buffy is like, unless it's just a very specific story, but the series as itself has always been this ensemble cast, and Sarah Gale continues to do that with the series and do it very well. I think this series may only have like 2 or 3 more issues. I think it is coming to a close. I could be wrong, but for some reason I want to say 16 or 17 might be the last issue. Either way, it's been a very enjoyable series up to this point, and I'm definitely going to continue reading it as it moves forward. Um, the art in this current, I'm not a huge fan of the art. It's not bad by any stretch. It's just, it's just not my style that I enjoy. But it's very the book feels very YA, um, especially from the art, and I think that's obviously done on purpose, which is good. But I am kind of hoping that um, that audience is getting into it, and it's not just me. You know, it's just
Uh,
not like the guys who've been reading the series for since the Dark Horse days and just continue to read the comic. So
let me say about the art.
okay.
Did you make your way to South Carolina Con this year?
No, I did not.
Okay. Terry and I went both days, and my takeaway is that over the time that we have been attending, which has been, other than the pandemic, we have been like 6 or 7
Oh yeah.
consecutive years, or cons, I should say. And we have noticed that the comic book aspect of the convention is not as big now as it was when we first started going.
Mhm.
And as that has been retracting, what has been filling its place is more and more people, typically female creators, not exclusively, but much of this space that is opened up from comic books moving out has been occupied by female creators with art styles that are very similar to this.
Oh, okay.
Um, Derogatorily, I have seen it referenced, and I may have used the reference myself, as it being more an Etsy creator thing. And for those of you that, if you frequent Etsy or Etsy, however, ETSY, however you say it, you'll recognize that there is a an overarching similarity between a lot of the styles that the creators use. Now, there's still a wide variety, but it's not art in a Byrne, Barry Windsor Smith,
Right.
Romita Jr., et cetera, et cetera. It's not in our era of sequential art
Mhm.
creators, but this is very, very similar to a wide swath of what I see a lot of the creators doing that had booths at South Carolina Con, ultimately is what I'm getting to. I don't hate Etsy. I just bought a 4 comic book set off of a woman on Etsy because I couldn't find them anywhere else.
Nice.
But she had them on Etsy. I would have never thought to look on Etsy for
Would not
comic
have thought
books,
that at all.
but she had the 4 issue. It was a mini series, and I'm like, decent price. I don't care. It's on Etsy. I want it, and so yeah, I hooked myself up. But
It's a vendor who's a vendor who's a vendor. Yeah. Doesn't matter where their where their
that's it.
site
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
But that's something that I noticed just sitting here as you're speaking on the book,
Yeah.
looking through it, is that art very much reminds me of that popular art from those creators that aren't really mainstream. It's almost
Right.
like
Yeah.
they do it because they want to, and they hope that other people enjoy it too. Like a visual, you know, slash fiction or something like
Well,
that. That
there were artists, um, and I'm so glad you didn't buy him that too,
I
Piper.
yeah,
That'd have
I
been that'd have been
I think
bad.
I am too.
It'd have
From
been embarrassing on the show for that reveal.
Yarn and
So
Feathers. Although I would wanted to have at least seen it.
oh, okay.
So I would have been interested in. Yeah,
Why
to
don't
that
you
extent
send him a
anyway.
link?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
could
Well,
look
what?
at it.
Point me at that. What is that? Okay.
Uh, so there so it's interesting you say that because I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. Like I haven't been to a con, I can't tell you how long. It's very sad. I cry a little bit every time. every
I do
time
too.
it's
It's
like
unfortunate.
it is. It's very
You're
unfortunate.
you're changing, Chris, and it's very sad. It's not, yeah.
Once I get over 50, I'll be fine. It's just another
Wow.
year from now.
It's
So it is what it is.
these
Um,
doldrums.
but
Yeah.
there was it's it's really embarrassing if he ended up with 2. Oh, yes, it is. Um, so so okay. So it's
That's
interesting you
insane.
say that about this art style and everything because and I don't know if you remember because it's been a while back, but we'll say early 90s, mid 90s, there was a style of art, strangely enough, not too dissimilar to this. Very thin. There was a lot of indie artists or a lot of single or sole published folks. Me having working, I worked and did orders in a comic book shop in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, for a while, for many years, while I did my real job. And so I got to see a lot of these, independent small press
Okay.
publishers. A lot of their artists had a very similar style to, say, like Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja,
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Nira X.
You're right. Yes. Yes.
So it was
That
that sort of it was that sort of style, very thin figures, large heads, almost. Um, it was an interesting style, but there was a lot of people doing it,
mhm.
and I never understood. I understand a little more now than I did then,
Right.
but I don't really have the reference anymore, just remembering that it was a thing. But very similar to this, where there was an art style that a lot of people were aping, or just maybe it was the only thing that they could. I don't know. It didn't make
Yeah.
sense that there were so many artists using the same style, not doing the same book.
Right. Yeah. The why is just very hard to come by. It's like,
Yes.
well, how are all of these people, as far as we know, separately
Yeah.
using the same
And
style?
this is
What
before
is
the internet, before all
Yeah,
that
what is the
stuff.
connection to
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm using a 3.5-inch floppy to do orders on and stuff like that. So
Ooh, yeah.
there's no internet to upload it to. So yeah. So I do like the art style in this, but it's not. I like it well enough that I'm not like I can read the book and not be like,
Right.
oh my god, I just can't look at the page. It's not,
It's you
but
you
it's
mean
not anything that I would write home about.
it's not like
Um,
the current Miller Wolverine, style that,
oh jeez, no,
popped up here earlier this week?
no, oh good lord, people just give 'em a break.
Oh,
Jeez,
they went ape poo about that, man.
I have
Wow.
I have never been more angry at a group of people about comic books in a while. There've been 2 situations, that and the Spider-Man thing.
Okay.
Honestly, I could care less about either one. I understand the argument for both, but can't understand the outrage, especially for Frank Miller.
I
Like, all it is his art style has changed as he's gotten older.
I
He's still Frank Miller.
I tried to
I have
make that
seen
argument today,
I
and
know, it's like
I just
that
I
cover of Wolverine, unfortunately, is better and will be more recognizable than a lot of folks who are struggling to make it, but are also the loudest people making those accusations like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you did." You
yeah.
people are ridiculous. It's Frank Miller. Shut up.
Well, but like any art, look at it. If you like it, cool
Right.
beans. If you don't, move on.
Right.
What just
Am I gonna buy the cover because it's Frank Miller? No.
no.
I'm not gonna buy the cover. I'm not gonna buy the book at all.
Yeah, really.
But it's one of those things. If I had a choice, like, okay, it's this thing or this Frank Miller thing, like I'm not gonna buy the Frank Miller only because I'm mainly a cover A guy at this point in my life. I don't,
Right.
you know, And like, sure, if this was Frank Miller 20 years ago, I mean, maybe, but I don't go out of my way to buy Frank Miller stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I do recognize that yes, it's an art style that you may not like. Like, if I hear one more person tell me how much they don't like John Romita Jr.'s art, I'm gonna punch
Oh,
somebody in the throat.
yeah. It's
Like, oh my god, John Romita Jr. is one of my favorite artists since I was a kid.
yeah, I
Like, it's just not your style. I get it.
I
But this
disagree with that,
insane
yeah.
hatred that people, oh my god,
Oh,
if you can
it
make it past the
sucks, it's
artwork,
horrible, it's
like,
like, okay.
I would never say that about anybody that I didn't enjoy. Like I'm saying about this art and this issue, it's it's good enough. I think it's good
It
enough.
it's
It's
not
not my
your
favorite,
kind of art. Yeah,
right?
it's
But it
fine,
doesn't make
okay.
it bad. Lord, I would hope someone would punch me in the
I
forehead if I was insulting someone like that.
Well, I ended the conversation that I was having about that Frank Miller thing by by throwing out George Perez's work on Sirens,
Oh
and
yeah,
basically I said, "This is basically where George Perez ended. Talk trash about him."
right.
And that just pretty much cut the conversation. It was like, "Yep,
Oh, I'm
uh,
sorry, it's George Perez. No.
it's there is no difference."
Right.
Different artists, but the progression over to it's the same concept,
Yep.
you know?
Crazy.
So,
All right, so that's it for Vampire Slayer. Unless you had something you wanted to add to
no,
that,
no.
and then I'll wrap things up talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 108 as we build up to 111, which is we'll start the whole big 12-month thing. The biggest takeaway from this particular issue is the fact that it's now been revealed that Rita had separated Zordon's essence or whatever, and put him in the container and took his body, basically froze it, and hid it. And so now the big bad sort of villain, that she's brought back is his body with its own sort of consciousness. And so it's now come after Zordon, to merge with it. And like, I have, he's like, I've seen, I know that you didn't get an opportunity because you were separated from your body to, all this stuff, and all these people have died around you and you've never been able to do anything about it. You've sent the Rangers off to do this, and Rangers have died here and there and all this other stuff. Here's your opportunity. We merge together. We become whole again. That we can, yes, working with Rita, we can do all of these things. And obviously, all of these things are evil things, and Zordon's not evil, and Zordon's not going to do that. But it is sort of that, the most of the issue is this sort of back and forth that Zordon is having. I don't even know if they even call this. I forgot what they call this thing. Um, it's the body of the Dark Spectre is looking to take control of,
The
and
vessel?
the vessel. There you go. Thank you. So that's sort of this whole thing, and there's not a moment reading this issue where I'm sitting here going, you know what? I think Zordon's going to back down. I think he's going to join up. I think this is it. I think this is where we see Zordon, become a physical form again, and da da da. I don't ever think that. Now there is a moment where the vessel's like, well, screw you, and starts to absorb him. And he does sort of, it looks like he absorbs him. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is happening. And then Zordon just sort of is like, no, and sort of, breaks out or whatever. But it's an interesting conversation that for me, obviously didn't feel like Zordon was ever going to go the evil route. But I kind of wish that it had been written a little bit, um, to make you kind of question it for a little bit. But maybe it's because it's Zordon. We know where his allegiance, where his heart is, and everything. It's very hard to say. It's kind of like saying, Well, it's almost like saying, well, you never know. You never think Zed's going to like help out the Rangers, but then I'm like, wait a second, he did that not too
Mhm.
long ago. So,
Yep.
well, maybe it's like Rita. Rita's not gonna,
Mm.
especially after she got the redesign and everything. She's not gonna be a good guy right now. Um, but it was a good issue. I enjoyed it. I didn't even give the credits and everything. Um, it is written by Melissa Flores, who I have. She's done a great job with this series. I've struggled with it, but that's my own Power Ranger incompetence. Illustrated by Marco Rena, great art. I've enjoyed all of it. Colored by Francesco Segala with assistance by Gloria Martinelli. Ed Dukeshire doing letters. And then there's a host of variant covers and
Yeah.
stuff like that, which is, par for the course when it comes to Power Rangers, but that's cool. Designer is Madison Goyette. I had to say her name because I hadn't said Madison's name in a while. It seemed like there was every episode we said it 3 or 4 times.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is a good looking book. I really have enjoyed the way, the coloring on this thing, the art in it. And like I said, Flores's art or writing in this has been really, really good. I really have been um, glad to see this book handed off to someone who is who gets these characters, even though I don't get them 100%. I am not. I'm not reading this like the writer's going, "You're an idiot. You don't know anything." Like this is written for everybody, which is great. But there's no hand holding either though, which is great too. So it's just telling the story, and if you're not up to speed on it, there's enough there for you to it's a Claremont way of doing it without reintroducing every character every issue, because you never know in somebody's first issue.
Right.
It is very I always say that every time I talk
Every
about
issue is
Claremont
someone's
books.
first.
Yeah. But it is written to where, you know, the meat of the book you can get without knowing a whole lot. So, and I enjoy that. So yeah, I am looking forward to 111 and see how that whole darkness.
Well, that was a pretty major story finale, and now they only
Yes,
have like 2 issues until this next big thing starts. So it's
yeah.
like,
I mean, we'll still be building up to it for sure, but this is a good part or a good piece of this moving forward to that. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing. Oh, and I forgot to click over the art.
well,
So
there we go.
that was
It's a
my bad.
virgin cover. No, it's
I
not
apologize.
virgin, is it?
No,
See.
it's not.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
But it is a cool looking cover. So, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. So, all right. Anything else before we head out?
I don't think so.
All right, cool. So I appreciate everybody checking us out. If you joined us in the chat, awesome. Big props to all you fun folks. If you didn't make it to the chat, we do record every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard on YouTube. You can find us at all the various links in our show notes and stuff like that. You can come by the website, comicaddiction.com. You can email us at boomaddiction@gmail.com. You can find us on the forums, which is justanotherfanboy.freeforums.net. I have heard rumors that there's not a lot of activity over there, and part of that's my fault because I'm not over there. But I do hope that all of you get a chance to go over there, talk about boom books and stuff like that. It'd be great. Stephen would appreciate all of you coming by and give a little boost to the
Yep.
conversation. And you don't have to just hang out in the boom place. I know there's some of you who are listening. They're like, what are these things called forums?
Oh,
They are a good time.
step back in time with us, my friend.
Yes, and Ed and I and Steven are of the older breed of podcaster. We enjoy a good forum, and you can type more than 140 characters
Yeah, really. It's
or 280 or whatever you get these days.
whatever it
You
is.
don't have
Yep.
to pay $8 to be in there. Yeah, all this other stuff.
Nope. Yep.
Speaking of which, you can find us on Twitter. The site is, or the podcast is at Boom Addiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Productions. Follow me at Chris Parton. If you don't want to email us and DMs and stuff like that, or is your thing if you're on Twitter and stuff like that, send us a DM. ask us some questions and stuff like that, we'd love to bring it up here on the show. To
Yep.
be honest, I have
Absolutely.
not looked at the Gmail in probably 6 months, so I might need to
Ooh,
do
you
that
might,
just to see if
yeah,
there's anything in there.
just to be safe.
Dust the cobwebs off and see. It's like, is anybody? And then feel bad because nobody has. Yeah. If you're on Facebook still, you can go by Fans of Boom Studios. It's where Ed is posting all of the links to press releases and previews and just anything that's Boom related that he comes across in his news feed. He puts it up over there so that folks can see the link, check it out, talk about it if you want to on in the comment section, stuff like that. So it's good stuff. And if that's it, as always, thanks everybody for listening. Ed, thank you for joining me, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna be out of here in less than 2 hours, just by 5
Ooh.
minutes. So
Ooh.
we will catch all of you next week. Goodbye. And we're out, I guess. We'll just cut edit there. Oh, it just all of a sudden the eyelash went in my eyeball. Oh, that was
Uh-oh.
good to have it right there at the last. Oh,
Let
thank
me
you
check
very
my
much. Another
notes.
fun. It was. We always have fun. We're so happy that all of y'all could join us. That is the cool thing.
Okay.
Uh,
I obviously am missing the reference. Who is the redheaded girl?
I don't know
Should
who the redheaded girl is unless you're doing
should I
a
know that?
Peanuts reference. Is it
Is that who Charlie Brown?
is rerun? Is that his little brother reruns redhead girl that he got sexual harassment in kindergarten because he asked her to go to France with him or Paris?
Oh, I don't. Okay.
That is a reference we make at the house at least once a month.
I don't know the reference. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I forgot what Charlie Brown thing. Yep, he was right.
Peanuts. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, my wife will be so proud of me.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not sure I am
I
familiar with
think
that.
it's the Valentine special that
Okay.
rerun is in, and he's like a kindergartner or first grade or something like that. But yeah, that one I forgot when that one came out, but yeah,
Hmm,
that's one we
okay.
watch every Valentine.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so we had almost everybody, almost all of our regulars in the. Now, if we can get Rios in here, maybe Martin, if we can get him. I
I
did
don't know.
message Martin today just to see if he was alive, and he is. So
Yeah, I've seen like 2 or 3 tweets in like the last 4 or 5 months from Martin.
yeah,
So I
yeah, it's not very
yeah,
not a whole lot. So
and his podcast he hasn't brought out. I think they dropped an episode like a couple weeks ago for the
yeah,
first time in many, many months.
yeah. Nick will respond to something on Twitter or something like that every so often. So I do see him a bit. So
And Peter's living his own life.
oh yeah, Peter's having
He's
a good
doing
time.
his thing. So yeah.
Yep. All right, let's see. Charlie Brown always check the mail for a letter from the redhead girl. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, we're going to sign off here on YouTube. So, again, thanks everybody for listening and checking us out here in the chat. And we'll catch you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.